Alright guys, welcome to a new video. We're gonna shortly talk about BTC, but I'm gonna mostly focus on alts this time around, as I think those are more interesting at this point than BTC just chopping around. So first off, if you are looking for an exchange and looking for exclusive sign-up bonuses, check out both Bybit and PrimeXPT below, and let's get straight into it. Alright, so just now this night, Sunday to Monday night, we did break down. There was no CME gap created, but we basically lost this previous range high, range low, whatever you want to call it. We basically bounced right on this high volume node, so most volume has been traded around this price level, as this shows the highest volume node back here. We did front run like the 0.618 by a bit, but overall, yeah, I'm not ruling out like another small bounce here or a small correction here. But from here on out, yeah, we're basically in the middle of the range. So I'm not expecting too much on BTC unless it can retake this area or unless we test the range low again. But I do think if we would get down to this 25k area, it will likely sweep this low, and I also think it would be going for the low on the USDT perpetual pairs, which is quite a bit lower, because last time around we didn't sweep it because it went quite deep on the initial nuke down. So I think if we were to lose like this mid-range area and we go test these range lows, I also think we will sweep this level. So keep an eye out for those. Besides that, yeah, I think this is basically just chopping around here. There's a lot of longs that got wrecked, both on this flush down and this one. Spot premium, kinda stable, not too much going on there. I will say that USD liquidity did tick up both on Thursday and on Friday, so we might see a bit of positive impact on that, but stocks have been selling off like crazy last week, so depending on whether those see some relief, that might help BTC or not. I would say the bulls would really have to retake this, the purple 4-hour 200 MA to really get something going. And I think if this is bullish, it will try to retest this, and I don't think it will reject there, because at that point it will have retraced most of the move, and I think it would just go from there and then retake it and go straight up. So I think if it's bearish, we might not even go higher than this 4-hour 200 EMA or MA, sorry, at 26.3 and reject there, and then slowly grind down, maybe get another bounce here. But if it's really weak, it would just keep bleeding down throughout the week. And I think if it's bullish, we will see a sharp buyback maybe somewhere today after the New York Open, and then get back into this zone. And if it then retakes this from there on out, I would start targeting like 28k and higher again, because then this would likely just be a higher low for the next leg up. To easily journal and track your trades, consider trying out Coin Market Manager. It's as simple as connecting your exchange API to the website to get your analytics ready. Sign up using the link below, get a 14-day trial, and I hope you really enjoy it. I know I've been using it for a while and I can't go without at this point. Alright, that's basically it on BTC. Well, lastly, one more thing. It's also good to note how we did reject the 200 EMA daily again. So you can see this has been rejecting this region, and we have held it before during this cycle, or doing this move up, I should say, or cycle, however you want to call it. And we did break down, and we're now retesting it into resistance every time. So for like a higher time frame reversal, I would really want to see both of these get taken out at some point. So obviously that can take a while. At this point, the 200 MA is still trending up, 200 EMA is starting to trend down. So that might start moving something like this in the future. And who knows, maybe at some point we just chill here for a while throughout the rest of the year, something like that. All right, moving on to the more interesting stuff, I think, right now, which is alts. Just gonna get these old drawings back real quick. Okay, so Bitcoin dominance. It's trending. Well, I can say it's trending now, but it's moving down a few days in a row now, which is paired by ETH BTC finally going up a tiny bit after like selling off a lot. We'll get into that shortly. My base case is still that we chop around this region between, like, let's say 48 and 52% until we get some kind of decision on the ETF. I'm still assuming once an ETF gets approved at some point that BTC will be up like 20 or 30% on the day. Alts might be up like 10 or 20, with a few of them probably going crazy, but they will likely not catch up or hold up with Bitcoin, which means Bitcoin dominance will just spike like crazy, which I also think will be like a local top shortly after. So with that, people are still a bit wary on allocating into alts, which makes sense because if you got new capital or stables or whatnot and you are investing, I think most people are just sticking with Bitcoin because the ETF narrative and whatnot, it's safer as well. Bitcoin dominance has been trending up for about a year now, like you can see here, the start of September. So well over a year since this has been trending up. You could argue that in June it turned around, but so far there's not been real progress really made by altcoins relative to BTC. I would assume if we get below this area, which I think is possible, then we will see some altcoin fun. And I'm speculating, and of course this is purely me guessing, that it might even be possible that we get like a mini alt season, if you can even call it that, like prior to the ETF. I mean, I think a lot of people that are, by now they have sold out of their alts relative to BTC, that is. And I also think people are just kind of waiting for this ETF, but that might not even happen until Q1 24. So that's at least 3 months to go. And with ETH BTC now finally reaching some possible support here, I do think eventually if an ETF gets approved, we will test this level. We might even do it prior. I mean, it's only like 10% down. But with BTC or ETH BTC, now finally bouncing off this initial support area, which is following the doodle nicely. I think if this starts grinding up, and it might even do like another one of these fake outs, or it might fully just break out here, that should help alts relative to BTC. And yeah, I'm calling it an alt season for now, but I'm not like expecting crazy things. Just saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see some altcoin outperformance over the next couple of weeks, maybe, while BTC possibly just ranges around this area. I mean, I'm not expecting BTC to do much, but range between, like, let's say 25 and 28k for a while. It's also good to note how obviously this latest weekly candle is looking quite bad. I mean, it's looking a bit ugly. This one 2 weeks ago was pretty good. This one looks ugly with a big wick above. But it's also good to note, like, this is only 5% down, maybe. And we know on Bitcoin and altcoins, all that stuff, things can really change in a second. So there can be one good day with like a 5% up day or down day for that matter, and it's going to completely change the entire chart. All of a sudden, everything looks good, and then people get bullish again, etc. So keep that in mind. Like, these past few weeks, basically nothing has happened, but it all looks weird, and especially if you zoom in, it looks ugly and scary. But it only takes like a single candle, which can happen in like an hour, let's say, and then all of a sudden everything looks good and everyone will start buying again. And what I'm mostly interested in currently is the fact that, I mean, we're already seeing it on BTC, but also stuff like Arbitrum and basically every coin for that matter. I just got Arbitrum here, but Solana as well. All these coins, they're basically trending up slowly since like 2 weeks ago, and they're holding up much better than Bitcoin during this consolidation down, or like this sell-off down. So in this time, a lot of alts have just made higher lows, which, I mean, Bitcoin can still technically do here as well. Good example, also PEPE. It broke out like a few days ago. Luckily, we called this in the group and in the friend tech chat as well, so that was nice. But yeah, you can basically see this was obviously just a simple diagonal line. It broke out, but we saw good volume come in. And a proper breakout. I mean, this was like a 20% move, and now it seems to try and make a higher low here. So that's pretty promising, because if I zoom out a bit, or like I go back to the past, there were plenty of these diagonal breakouts. Let's say probably here. You can see here. This could have been the same, but you can see here it just kind of broke out, and then it fell back. It's just trying and it's trying, but in the end you end up getting this instead of like a proper breakout. So the fact that there are some coins out there that are now just breaking out and we're seeing good volume come in and it actually put in a leg up makes it much more likely that this is like at least the start of like a second leg possibly. So yeah, there's these subtle differences which are just showing some kind of strength on a lot of these alts, and BTC isn't showing it yet, but I think as long as BTC chills around 26k even, and we get ETH BTC slowly grinding up, and we get these bigger altcoins that are trying to get some moves, I think that would be perfectly fine and would make for a decent trading environment. So yeah, my focus is on altcoins. I'm monitoring everything. I think it's possible we get some weeks of outperformance on alts. No one is really counting on it. I mean, if I would call the word alt season, people would say you're crazy. Obviously, once again, I'm mainly calling for outperformance versus Bitcoin. So that can even be when Bitcoin consolidates in the same area, but altcoins slightly go up. I would still call that like a tiny alt season, as it's basically altcoin outperformance. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm eyeing for. And the confirmation for this would obviously be Bitcoin dominance falling back into this range. And I think upon doing so, we're probably not going down here, but maybe to like the mid 40s is something I would be watching for. And then maybe closer to like the ETF deadline approval, hopefully approval date, it might start creeping back up, because people are going to be like, okay, if this ETF gets approved or denied for that matter, we're probably going to see like a big move by BTC. So it's better to start scaling out of alts. But we've seen very often where people are already front running some kind of news like way in advance. And usually maybe like a few months or few weeks prior, the opposite tends to happen, because the initial thing was already priced in, and then there's all these discounts and stuff. It also happens with these huge token unlocks. People often know about them like a year or way longer in advance, and then maybe half a year prior, they're already gonna start selling out of those things, and they're gonna start shorting, and it may go on for a while. But as you get closer, usually the closer you get, the more priced in it is, let's say. So that's why we tend to see these bullish unlocks, what people call them. So when the unlock actually happens, most of the sellers already sold, and shorting has happened to extremes, and they just get squeezed up. And the initial or the actual unlocking event of these tokens tend to not really do that much. So I think this could possibly be something that we'll get, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, obviously it's very early. I mean, altcoins have been trending down, most of them since April of this year, where they topped out, or February, April, March, something around here. The Solana went one more leg up, but I mean, something like PEPE, I mean, this thing has just been crushed. So yeah. Anyways, just mainly looking for some relief bounces. Obviously, it will be dependent on BTC, but I think as long as BTC chills around here, it's not going to do some crazy moves. This would be bullish above here, and I think if we start grinding back below like 25.8, we will test 25k, and probably also take out this low and the low on the perpetuals and futures pair I mentioned about. All right, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it. And I wish you all a great day. Take care.